How? But how? Okay, so who ran it? The guy there? But how do you flip it? I have so many questions, like, immediately. Is everybody okay, though? Okay.
What happened was...
As long as everybody's okay.
Yeah, they're right there.
But still, like, how do you do that?
So I'm going to start this off with showing the clip from yesterday.
Okay.
I don't know how this happened.
I thought about it for a while afterwards, and I still don't know how it happened.
Because, I mean, there was one car sitting there with the front end smashed up, but then the other car's obviously on its side.
Mm-hmm.
So they couldn't have been hit, like, too hard. Otherwise, they would have just kept going. Unless they kept going and then it just stopped on its side.
I have to assume that somebody was coming this way, and this one, the one that was on its side, was going this way and got hit, and that moved it over the way it was. I don't know who ran the light, though. Obviously, somebody ran a light.
Somebody had to run it good, though. They had to run it. They didn't, like, barely run it. They ran it good.
I think it's probably the one that was going towards Destin Commons, because people like to run that light more, thinking it'll be fine. And if the other one didn't have anybody at the front of it and it turned green, I don't know. That's all I could think of.
It's the vacation traffic. And this is what I was telling people on the video yesterday, walking the beach, was like, just because you're on vacation, you can't, like, forget
how to stay safe and do normal, safe things.
Like, people get into this mind, this zone. It's like, I'm on vacation, I'm invincible. Mm-hmm. I'm only worried about, you know, what's around me, maybe taking selfies while I'm driving or whatever. And it's like, no. No.
No, just no.
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 Vacation's supposed to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Relaxing.
Yeah.
Calm.
Correct.
Which we saw the exact opposite of that yesterday at the beach, which we're not going to discuss here. That's on a different channel. But what?
I was going to say, what's funny is that a lot of people call this vacation, when they leave places, they call it vacation, but they're still taking the same BS and stress with them from one place to another and just making it a new place to be pissed off at. And they're paying for it.
Yeah, I'm pissed off in a better climate and environment. Despite the claims of how many people are leaving Florida on a regular basis because of the insanely high prices and cost of living. Mm-hmm. But then somebody said that Florida would be a dream for them coming from Colorado because Florida is less expensive.
Yeah.
But somebody from California would love to go to Colorado because it's less expensive than California.
It's all in the perception of where you are, where you've been, where you're going. That works for a lot of things in life, not just housing prices.
But I will say that costs are going up. I don't think this is going to be a surprise to anybody. Costs are going up. Inflation is still a thing. You know, we're going into a recession, if not already in a recession, and you got to get creative. Mm-hmm. You got to get creative, and I think part of that is knowing your risk tolerance, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to have to get creative in where we live because our risk tolerance is low, especially in consideration to what condos can do to you financially.
Oh, yeah. Whereas when we first moved here, the plan was apartment for a year, and if we liked it, stay and have a condo and either live in the condo or have one to rent out and use whenever we want. Those were the two things we were tossing back and forth, and it seemed like a really good idea until you're here and you start paying attention to the condos and you start realizing the prices of the condos, and then you hear about all these fees for the condos, and then all these new things are coming out with owner's fees because of having to replace roofs and stuff like that. And then it's one of those, thank goodness we dodged that bullet.
Well, my brother put up a video yesterday on financial fitness, and he was saying that some of these condos, because he looked at buying a condo here, a nice one,
a gorgeous condo,
real nice. I think he actually put an offer in. I think he put the offer in, and they didn't accept it. So
I bet today they would be like, "Excuse me, can we have that offer again? Because we've been sitting on this thing for months and months."
I'll tell you guys right now, if you're in a situation and you turn down money, you ain't gonna get it back. You ain't, not today. And if so, he'll be like, sure, I'll entertain it. Here's a new lower offer. But he said on the video, he said that a lot of these people are now paying through the nose, right? after having paid off their condos because of the HOA fees, the assessments, the maintenance, the new minimum requirements set by the state that are continuously driving these prices up where it's never ending. Never ending.
Agree. Now, property tax in a condo is going to be different than property tax in a house.
Oh, yeah, the property taxes too.
And I would think insurance in a condo would actually be cheaper than in a house, I would think, even though condos are generally oceanfront.
Now, here's the crazy part about it. The Florida insurance companies are pulling out. So it then makes insurance more expensive, and you have less options. And when you have less options, remember the whole supply chain shortage crisis. Well, then they start manipulating it to like just pull your eyeballs out
through your butt. Like, not even the easy way. They're going the hardest way possible.
And now they know that they got you right where they want you. They can raise the prices. But here's the crazy part: is that even in Florida, no matter what floor you live on in a condo, you got to have flood insurance. If you live on the 18th floor of a condo, you got to have flood insurance. Like,
I would think it'd be cheaper than on the first and second floor, but I could understand still needing the
cheaper,
flood
sure,
insurance.
okay, but you still, I mean, like the price of it's going up, okay, and I think it's a place where people want to be. You know, I think it's a place where people want to be for a variety of reasons. And I do feel like our corner of Florida is different than
other corners.
Like the tradition, when people think Florida, they don't think
where we are. They think Miami for some reason. Well, because that's what most people talk about is Miami, and we are nothing like Miami over here.
So I want to talk about travel a little bit because that's what we did last summer. That's what we are going to do some today, maybe. We'll see, because you got a live stream at 5 o'clock. You said you were recording at 2, or you need to record the main channel 2?
Record the main channel 2.
All right, so we just got to, well, you can do a live stream anywhere. Or do you want to do it here?
No, I don't care. They liked it at the beach last time.
Yeah, last time you did it at the beach. So maybe we'll do some traveling today, and, you know, SquirrelTribe 2.0 will come from the beach. Speaking of which, we're going to do live chat. So live chat is kind of interesting because it's not like a live stream like normal. It's an interactive live stream chat. So viewers
picture a Zoom call, basically,
can join in and have this conversation with us at the same time. Now, it's not on YouTube, it's on Patreon, but we are kicking that off as well as we're doing some traveling on a cruise ship, going to Cozumel, and where else? Tampa
and Cozumel.
That's okay.
It's an easy one. It's a short one because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to just vomit for 5 days straight. So we picked a short, little, to the point and back kind of thing.
So,
plus the other ones are, I mean, you would need to sell a kidney on the black market.
How come we didn't go out of Mobile?
Because by the time I thought about going out of Mobile, it was about the same price, and there wasn't one that would leave in the time frame that we needed to.
Okay, because I was going to say Mobile would have been
I looked at Jacksonville,
2,
Mobile.
3 hours?
Yeah, I looked Jacksonville, Mobile, Tampa. Tampa ended up being the best one. They had ones that were farther up the East Coast that we could have gone out of and had a little more travel and seen stuff.
Have we been to Tampa before?
You and I drove through there in the S2000.
Because we went to Clearwater. We went to Clearwater. Then we went and got a Uber to Tampa.
Yeah, where we had dinner.
Yeah, we had an Uber to Tampa because we were like, we don't want to drive all the way back to Clearwater hammered.
Yeah.
So
we Ubered back hammered.
Yeah, that was a ride.
This is like
that was a ride
over a decade ago.
Oh man, that was so long ago.
I know. It's an hour. Oh,
so it was Lyft. We weren't doing Uber.
Yeah,
we were doing Lyft. Lyft was cheaper.
Yeah.
So anyway, last summer we did some traveling and we ended up in San Francisco, and somebody left a comment on the video and said, "Kevin, have you heard about the hotels in California or hotels in San Francisco?" So I look it up, and it says that this is far worse than the car accident we saw yesterday, right? Okay, which we say that because they said everybody was fine in the car accident. Okay, so essentially all that happened there was a loss of money. There's going to be an insurance claim. There's going to be some costs associated with it, but everybody was fine. There was some police, some sheriff, but no ambulance. Okay. It wasn't even a tow truck.
We got there before the tow truck.
I think they're trying to figure out how they were going to flip it over, and what they were going to do, but they were like, everybody's fine. Which, not to get sidetracked, there was a crazy video on YouTube of a wheel that fell off the front of a truck, went underneath somebody's little SUV, threw the SUV into the sky, and it did all what it was going to do. And they said they were fine.
That was one of those itty bitty SUVs.
They were fine.
It was one of those little smart ones.
They said they were fine. That was crazy. But either way, this is out of San Francisco, and it says that there's another bit of bad news for downtown San Francisco that arrived just a few days ago with the revelation that the investment firm that owns the Hilton San Francisco Union Square and Park 55 hotels is walking away from its debts and giving up hope on a return to San Francisco's convention market.
Well, that's understandable. I mean, we were in San Francisco, and I wouldn't return.
San Francisco was
disappointing.
You know what? Am I glad that we did that on the last leg of the trip?
Yeah, because if it had been the beginning, it would have been a damper.
Man.
If we had gone left and then up instead of up and then down and back over, it wouldn't have been good.
It was San Francisco, you know.
San Fran.
I bought a hoodie because it was cooler.
It was cold. It was freezing. It wasn't cooler. It was freezing and it was windy, and we all had to go buy sweatshirts.
I bought a hoodie, and I was like, I'm only gonna buy a hoodie if it doesn't say San Francisco on it.
So yours says California.
Yeah, I can go.
Mine says San Fran.
See if I can go find mine.
I think it's hanging up. I put it on a hanger. All these little flies. Stop.
Yeah, there was one catch. I'm only getting a hoodie if it didn't say San Francisco on it, because
mine says San Fran though, but it's like a double XL, and it's like the most comfortable sweatshirt I own besides my office one with Dwight Schrute that says false. Those are my favorite.
Oh man, like the meme you put up yesterday, that was funny.
That I made. I was very proud of myself.
So San Francisco, what I didn't know, I'm going to share with you here in a minute, which is crazy. Virginia-based REIT, Real Estate Investment Trust, Park Hotels and Resorts, has opted to cease payments on a $725 million loan, which I got to apologize to you guys yesterday because I misspoke on my video, Walking the Beach. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. And it says that essentially surrendering over 2,900 hotel rooms and hospitality facilities to its lender. This includes the 1,921 room Hilton San Francisco Union Square, which is in San Francisco's San Francisco's largest hotel, occupying an entire city block and one of the country's largest outside of Las Vegas.
Oh wow!
I saw Paris Hilton on the news somewhere yesterday. What is she doing? I don't know why she was in the news, but I saw her name pop up.
I don't know what she does anymore. Not what she used to do, thankfully.
But you immediately said, well, there goes a lot of jobs.
Mm-hmm. There goes a lot of jobs.
So this is a $725 million loan, and that the Park Hotels and Resort is also giving up on the 1,024 room Park 55, citing the continued debt burden of the two hotels on its portfolio and multiple factors that have made the San Francisco market less desirable for their business. So you got to look at it from a business perspective. They're experiencing a insane cost of living situation, a crisis, if you will, in San Francisco, because there's no way they would walk away from a profitable business opportunity in real estate investment of near $750 million.
You know what doesn't make sense to me? Why don't they, instead of walking away from it as a hotel, why don't they just turn it into a room and board kind of thing? Like they can do work and turn it into like community kitchens per floor or something like that.
Because that's not their interest. Maybe
not theirs, but maybe somebody else will come in and take it over.
What'll happen is the bank will ultimately take control of their asset because it's theirs. They own it because they still had a lien on it.
Yeah.
And then they'll find a new owner, buyer, investor. What they choose to do could be that. Maybe the investor, new owners could be the city of San Francisco. Maybe. That would make sense.
You know who it's going to be? Amazon. We don't have to build a new warehouse.
No,
we'll just gut this and
Amazon.
turn it into...
It would be BlackRock.
It probably will be BlackRock, in all honesty.
But it says that after much thought and consideration, we believe it is the best interest for Park's stockholders to materially reduce our current exposure to the San Francisco market.
Not to we have too many things going on where it's a money loss. It's literally the San Francisco market.
No. They're protecting the stockholders. So the money lost, they don't want it to affect the stockholders. So they're going to cut their loss now instead of continuously losing more.
I wonder if there are other markets where it's just as bad, but it's not San Francisco, so they're holding out.
Absolutely, other markets that are just as bad. This is just the first one to be announced, okay? Much like we've seen announcements of Walmart stores closing, folks pulling out businesses, Cracker Barrel too, pulling out of Portland.
Which is crazy.
This is just the beginning. So it's kind of like how I told you in the past. Like, once people start laying people off, when somebody comes out with the big announcement, they're going to lay off 10, 20,000 people, then the next company will do it. Once people are like, oh, we're going to close down stores, it's like, oh, thank God, we didn't want to be the first ones to do it. All right, we're going to close our stores too. So now that this hotel is pulling out, these investors are pulling out and defaulting on this debt, this is the beginning.
So remember over the summer and over C-19, basically, when it was, if you booked a hotel room anywhere, it was, well, you have to give us longer to clean because we have less cleaning crews, because we have to put more effort into cleaning, because we have to sanitize more, which, if you think about it, why weren't you cleaning that well to begin with? I don't want to think about the beds we slept in, the showers we used, and stuff like that, but you've got to think that even in these places, when you're doing that, you're saying, hey, instead of being able to check in at your normal 3 o'clock, it's not going to be until 8 or 9 because we have to have the cleaning done and we have less people. It makes people not rebook there because they've just lost out on 5-6 hours of hotel space and whatever else. So then you don't go back. That's one room lost. Then the next person doesn't go back. That's another room lost. And it's like this little trickle down effect to then nobody books.
Hotels are actually pretty filthy when you think about it.
Oh, yeah, no. Don't think about it.
Don't ever go in there with the black light or do a CSI, investigation.
No.
You don't want to do that.
No.
Ironically, somebody here locally booked a hotel where I wouldn't have ever dreamed of, imagined ever. I would sleep in the car. Like, hey, we're going on vacation. Which
you don't expect there to be something like that here.
Look, they're everywhere, they're everywhere. You just got, so they booked this hotel or motel and
Holiday Inn.
And then they go on, what's the thing?
Let's Talk Destin.
Let's Talk Destin. And
it's a group on Facebook.
And they were like, so what do you think? They've already booked it. Now, in my opinion, you do your research before you spend your money. You check reviews. You read the reviews. Don't just look at, because that's the thing. You can see a review has 1 star. Oh, the hotel was great. I actually saw this. The hotel was great, but I didn't like the way they cut in the paint. I didn't like the way they cut in the paint.
So I gave them a 1 star, even though everything else was exceptional.
You got to read. You got to pay attention. So anyway, they booked this hotel, and after they booked it, the people were like, yo, that's the worst hotel in Destin. It's a roach motel. Like, if anything bad's going to happen, it's going to happen there.
That's going to happen there. Don't walk out your door in the dark. Yeah, that kind of thing.
But, interestingly enough, I watched Karen Nate, and they put up a short, one of their better shorts, because long-form content creators are not good at making shorts. And
weirdly.
But I do think shorts creators are good at making long-form, which is kind of strange. But we're testing the shorts. We're testing the shorts out. So we're trying to get better overall at everything we do. But Karen Nate put up a short, and it was a comparison of checking out of a hotel and a comparison of checking out of an Airbnb. And Kara, she's like, wakes up, she's still kind of like in her pajamas, and she's drinking this cup of coffee. She throws it on the bed. She just walks out. Whereas the Airbnb, it's like they're scrubbing the toilet. They're doing laundry. They're washing dishes. And it's like, and you paid extra for that.
Yeah, you paid extra to have to do more work.
But it's, they're leaving. They're trying to protect these shareholders, these stockholders. But it says that now more than ever, we believe San Francisco's path to recovery remains clouded and elongated by major challenges, both old and new. Record high office vacancy, concerns over street conditions, lower return to office than peer cities, and a weaker than expected citywide convention calendar through 2027 that will negatively impact business and leisure demand.
Well, you have to think about this. The amount of homelessness and drug use there was through the roof. Like, Seattle was bad. San Francisco, to me.
San Francisco, we actually witnessed. Was that San Francisco?
Where the guy was just sitting on the ground with his pants around his ankles and his butt all on the ground, and the cop just sitting next to him because nothing technically wrong. He wasn't doing anything.
Once we hit the West Coast, like once we hit Oregon.
Oregon was gorgeous. The black sand beach is gorgeous, but then.
The beaches were, but I'll tell you,
The one we went
Well,
to.
Seattle. Okay, so Seattle. Look, we were on the West Coast, and it was just like, what
How did we get here?
What happened?
I don't know.
How did we go from Grand Teton to this?
Yeah.
But anyway,
Grand Teton was gorgeous, man.
And Spokane. Now Spokane, I like that KOA that we stayed at in Spokane.
There's so many I have to sit here
I
and
think
of.
that was the one that had like tons of elevation, and we had that. We were, it was really wooded, and we backed in.
You're right.
And we bought 3 or 2 sets of firewood, but we didn't use them.
Yeah.
I think that was Spokane.
Okay, I believe so also.
But driving through to get to it was sketch. It was sketch. But
oh yeah, because that's when we were leaving there. They had that neighborhood market.
The boat. Is that what y'all did?
Is that where we did that?
We gotta look back at the footage.
No, that's not where we did that.
I think that's where we did it. We gotta look back at the footage.
Oh, it is where we did that. Okay. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So that is where we did that, and that was a lot of fun. You were recording, and the kid and I were in a little paddle boat on this little lake.
Is it a paddle boat or a pedal boat? Because there's no paddles.
Okay, pedal boat.
I don't even know if it's a pedal boat, but anyway,
we pedaled around.
It's a bicycle boat and boat. And but driving through the city to get there was like, the little town was like, man.
So that's what I'm saying. When we left, we stopped and ate at Chick-fil-A.
And that's the one that they said, if you don't get here, we closing the gate.
Oh yeah, they said if you're not here on time, you're not getting in.
We got lucky because we gained an hour.
Yeah, that's the only reason why we made it. Because there was nowhere to eat on the way in. The way we went in, there was nowhere for us to eat. So we were like hungry as all get out by the time we got there. And then when we left and had to drive through actual Spokane, however you say it, Spokane.
Somebody actually left a comment. They said, "Oh, we could have met up and ate dinner over somewhere."
On our way out, we went through like the main city of it, and we stopped at Chick-fil-A, and that was the busiest Chick-fil-A I've ever seen in my entire life. It made no sense. So we had Chick-fil-A, and then on the way out, it was like homeless people on every corner, and it was just ridiculous. And then there was like one of these neighborhood fresh market kind of places, like a community market, and I was like, feels so out of place here, but I'm glad they had it. But it felt way out of place.
So it says that this marks a shift from 3 months ago when Baltimore and another hotel group CEO visited personally with Mayor London Breed and expressed some optimism about the future of the business travel market. Optimism about the future is completely different than the reality of the
current.
present.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Now, it says that the owner of the largest hotel in the U.S. outside of Las Vegas is abandoning the property, and it has stopped paying its mortgage to Chase Bank, relinquishing ownership to its lender, Chase Bank. Park Hotels and Resorts has opted to cease payments on a $725 million loan. Now, this is where I want to... The $725 million. I said yesterday in my video on the beach that YouTube was giving away $725 million, and they're not. I meant Facebook. I didn't say Facebook. I said YouTube by accident, and you pointed it out while we were watching the video, and it was already done and up. So I meant Facebook. And if you want to know more about that, I got more information, but I got links in the description so you guys can get your application in.
Funny that everything is 725.
Maybe that's the magic number. Play 725 on Cash 3. That's what it is. Box hand straight. Go ahead and get that money. If you get some, let me hold some.
I was about to say, remember who gave you the insider tip.
And it says, this is not financial advice. But concerns are specific to the San Francisco market. Now, the key here is that Chase Bank's going to be left holding this bag. Now, granted, they still own the asset, but people are going to be walking this insane cost of living crisis, this liquidity crisis, this insolvency nightmare that I was telling you guys about yesterday. It is happening. Now, this crash that everybody's waiting to see happen is literally about to begin in this commercial real estate, commercial lending, commercial corporate mortgage market. And the banks like Chase Bank about to get hit with such a huge default. Game changing.
You got to think right now, those buildings are still occupied. They're still open. They haven't fully closed it down. So there's people there right now that are able to keep those buildings safe, to keep people out of them, from breaking the windows, from graffiti, from whatever else. Sort of. But the second that changes, you're going to have new locations of...
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's going to be an expansion of more
squatters.
Of the same, yeah.
That's a perfect place to squat. It's got beds, showers, bathrooms.
It's going to be a squatter's paradise. It's going to be tent city, high-rise largest hotel ever converted into homeless camp, which we went to go see. Was it the Cecil Hotel? And we get there and it's shut down, and apparently it's just overrun with homeless.
But I mean, LA was, that little section of LA was probably the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. It looked like something out of a movie after the apocalypse.
The bomb went off.
So bad.
Now, it's funny because she has no clue what we're going to talk about ever, and she always jumps ahead in the slide somehow, some way. It's intuitive.
Why, you got LA in there?
But no, I'm going to tell you in a second.
Okay.
But it says that it's likely because of the second reason, that the maintenance of the streets is the issue behind why this hotel is choosing to walk away from such a large amount of debt. And if you want to know how a company can walk away from so much debt, hit me up, because this is why businesses are businesses, and these are the games that they play that the average person does not and cannot. You can walk. Not only were they able to get approved for $750 million loan, but they can walk away from it.
So what's interesting is when you say taking care of the streets, people are going to think, oh, there's potholes and stuff. No, what they mean are the homeless people on the streets. Because if you are paying high dollar to go stay at a convention center, what you want to see walking in are people who also have the money to be there. You don't want the panhandler on the corner. You don't want the one on drugs standing there. You don't want the one literally defecating on the sidewalk. That's not the view you want, because then it makes that location not worth the money you just spent. And keeping that kind of view out of your view costs a lot of money.
We had a convention one year in St. Louis, and then we ended up going to Anheuser-Busch headquarters, I think, or something. And it was the sketchiest bus ride from the hotel we were at to that. It's like, do not break down.
Yeah.
Do not. But they specifically told us, they said, hey, when you're in the hotel in St. Louis, that's where the convention is. They said, after 8, do not leave the hotel. It's not that, you can't. They just said, don't do it.
Bad idea.
Like, it's just don't do
that's
it.
like us when we were in Seattle. Everything closed at like 5 or 6 o'clock. And we're like, why does everything close so early? And it's like, you don't want to be out here after dark. They said that it started during the pandemic, but then because everything over there got so incredibly overrun with drugs and homelessness, they were like, we're not going to put basically our citizens, our working citizens, through having to walk home in the dark.
You got to think, you got some cities and counties that care more about protecting the mess and perpetuating and promoting the mess than really focusing on the citizens, although they're all citizens, but the citizens that are actually a contributing factor to the survival and continuation of the economic ecosystem of that city. Why would you let that fall apart and deteriorate so badly?
I have numerous thoughts on that one.
Gavin. But anyway, here's something I didn't know about San Francisco. It says that it's no surprise that a city that needs a human fecal matter map, not so that the city can clean it up, but so that the residents can avoid it, has soured a desire to visit.
Instead of ways, so you can figure out how to get around traffic, you have poops, so you can figure out how to get around where somebody has defecated on the sidewalk.
If I had known there was a human fecal matter map, we would have never went to San
Now, the only reason we went there is because our daughter wanted to see the house where Full House was filmed.
Which was a huge disappointment. Huge letdown.
Yeah, doesn't even look like it anymore. It's very sad.
Huge. We passed it. We passed it.
We didn't realize it was
the GPS says you're here. We're like, no,
but going over the Golden Gate Bridge was kind of cool. That thing was massive.
$12.
That was impressive.
$24. How much it cost to cross that bridge?
Oh yeah, it wasn't cheap.
Some businesses like Target, and this is how you skipped ahead earlier, have taken to extreme measures to protect their inventory. A TikTok video has gone viral showing the health and beauty aisle of a Target in San Francisco almost fully encased in glass as a countermeasure to prevent shoplifting. The locked display cases run the length of the aisle on both sides, with doors extending from the bottom shelves to the top. All this tells me, screams to me, is get ready folks, because these companies, these corporations, Whole Foods decided to leave. I think it was San Francisco or maybe another city in California. They decided to leave. They're just up and leaving. Why? Because they're moving away from the problem. The problems still exist. The problems are getting worse. The problems are not being solved by those who have the ability to solve them. So these companies and corporations are saying, we're just going to leave.
You know what's interesting
We're out of here.
If you stop and sit back and look at it and think about it, all these cities that the companies are pulling out from and all these cities that are run over with like drugs and homelessness and things like that, they are the undesirable cities, right? So those in theory will then be used for corporations to come in and build up their plants, their whatevers they want to build. But what does that mean for the cities that aren't considered that? It means they then get overrun with more people. The blue Jeep?
I haven't seen that one before.
I have, all the time. So that means that this other cities that aren't having the issues now have an influx of people, which means your real estate prices are going to go through the roof, which means your grocery stores are going to be, you know, hour-long lines to check out, which means traffic is going to be hellacious, which means new builds are going to go up. You're not going to be able to get a house because everything's going to be apartments and townhomes and condos and stuff like that, and it's going to be little baby sardine cities. We already are sardine cities in most of these places, but it's going to get so much worse.
Yeah, tighter and more expensive. As people continue to move away from the problem, we see here that rural.
Do it again.
Rural.
Rural.
What that guy say on the radio? He goes, "If you're my clock,
Instead of client, clock."
He was talking about getting people out of these money pits of these timeshares. And he's, you know, "If you're my clock."
I'm gonna move this thing back because it's getting sunny and warm over here.
But it says that rural Oregon movement to join Greater Idaho gains traction with vote in 12th County. Several Oregon counties are looking to break away from the state. Why? Because they're moving away from the problem. They're moving away from the problem. Okay? And this is just the beginning. I think there's a part of California that looked like it was trying to get to Idaho, too. It's crazy.
Idaho?
Yeah, they're all moving to Idaho.
Idaho.
But for the folks who wanted to know more about Facebook, Facebook's got a $725 million settlement, and Meta has agreed to pay a whopping $725 million sum to settle a class action lawsuit alleging Facebook shared its users' data without them knowing. And if you had a Facebook account anytime in the past 15 years, you're probably eligible for a piece of that huge sum. So what I did was I just compiled all this information in a simple and easy link. I got a community post with it, but I'll put it down below for you guys as well, because everybody's like, well, how do I get my money? How do I get my application in? Now, granted, this will be scheduled to be approved in September, the final approval by the judge, and the average Facebook user, once all fees have been deducted, the net settlement fund will be divided by the number of claimants. So $725 million, depending on how many people put their application in, will depend on how much you get. So the less people that do it, the more money you're going to get.
So quit telling everybody about it.
Oh, yeah. So mum's the word.
Mum's the word. Don't tell your friends and family.
Each Facebook user will get, but I think 725 million is still a lot to divide up. So, but it says each Facebook user will get a point for every month. That's the thing. They get it's not just that. Then it's like weighted. So you get a point for every month that you had an active Facebook account between May 2007 and December 2022. Which I think is kind of cool because Facebook made it like impossible to delete your account. So if you had one, like it was active. So that works out. The more points you have, the bigger your check will be. And based on similar large class action lawsuit settlements, estimated payments might be into the triple digits. So maybe up to $1,000 so far. And this is all based on how many people sign up. So we'll see. And if you think that you might be eligible, you have until August 25th to file a claim. And you can do it online or by mail. And as I said, the link is in the description down below. Appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for joining us. Thank you. Who are you today?
Michelle, SquirrelTribe.
Well, which one is it?
Michelle, SquirrelTribe.
Thank you for joining us. Make sure you check out the 2.0 Mimosa Monday.
5 p.m. live stream.
My dudes. And am I allowed to say that? Can I say that? So check out the Mimosa Monday, my dudes. If you want to see us just traveling and like cutting up and having fun, go check out SquirrelTribe Life. And if you want access to the exclusive content that we can't upload to YouTube, then that's on Patreon. And if you want to join us and be included in the live chat, live streams, those are going to be on Patreon as well. I don't know if we're going to post those videos on YouTube because they're going to be exclusive to Patreon, but maybe we can post like little clips and little, pieces of it, but they're essentially going to live on Patreon.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a part of that, you're more than welcome to. All these links are in the description down below. Until next time, you guys take care, be safe, see you real soon.
Bye.
Bye.